11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think they're gonna win it.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
With his trainer, Eddie Reynoso, wearing black with white, also weighing in at 197.6 pounds. In his professional career, 54 victories, including 36 big wins by knockout, only one defeat with 2 draws, and he's undefeated for 6 years, and considered by many to be, pound for pound, the best in the world. He's the former 2-time light middleweight world champion, former middleweight world champion, former light heavyweight world champion, the reigning, defending super middleweight champion of the world, damas y caballeros de Guadalajara, Jalisco, México, presentando al gran campeón, Saúl Canelo.
Hispanics are causing panic, baby. Let's do it.
What's going on, everybody? Decided to come back on here. I decided to make another appearance and grace you with my presence. Hit my like button, hit that notification. That way you're notified every time Style Boxing comes on live. Tonight, be on with Calix at Calix Boxing for Power Punches. Make sure you tune in for that. Pearl JC on here. Hey, how's it going, brother? Share this video on all your social media platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, we got some good news. Ryan O'Hara, all right, tweets out, all right, he tweets out per his source, and I'm hoping to have him on here in a little bit, actually, right? Per his source, and it reads, that's at O'Hara Sports on Twitter, all right? He is an award-winning sports writer for The Ring magazine and boxing writer of Association of America full member. He is an International Boxing Hall of Fame voter as well. Right, he has tweeted out about this fight. So here's a tweet. Let me go ahead and read it to y'all. Sources: Canelo Alvarez's Caleb Plant for undisputed super middleweight world championship is on for September 18th, reportedly on Fox pay-per-view. Fight will take place in Las Vegas. T-Mobile is a candidate. Some deal points being negotiated, but nothing major. Okay, that's pretty much the gist of that. Pretty much just that. Let's go ahead and share that screen so you guys can go ahead and look at that. This is good news, guys. Okay, and doesn't mean it's official, but it does mean that at the very least something has been updated, something has been said, and all that good stuff. I'm coming for you, my friend. Like, that's right. Canelo has all the chips on that poker table. Plant has one chip. He's like, I want that damn chip, dude. I want your chip. That's why. But why do you want this one chip? Just so I could say I have it. So I could tell everybody I got your chip. That's why. Mexican Independence Day, Canelo versus Caleb Plant is looking likely here. Some minor points will be negotiated. All the major stuff reportedly have already been agreed to. So we could cross our fingers and all that. Hope to have Ryan O'Hara on in a little bit, who broke this news. And I think it's important to know that of course, one gets excited, right? Like, of course, like when Cabager put it out, and it's nothing against the dude, but he's got a lot of shit wrong, right? And a lot of shit that he was saying he guaranteed that didn't happen, right? And Lanza says it's business. Heyman could have guaranteed 3 of his fighters to fight on the zone against their top boxers or something. It could have been something. I don't think Canelo needs to use the zone, to be honest. Why would he? I mean, I don't know, but Canelo is working with his zone for some fight cards, so he is working with him for that. But if there's any downsides to this, I don't think are overcome by the upside, but just some quick downside. It'll be pay-per-view, Fox pay-per-view, which means more than likely it will not be on the zone, which means that even if you have the year subscription, it's not going to include this fight, right? If you're paying monthly for the zone, it's not going to include Canelo versus Plant, more than likely. Whether they'll have it available on the zone app as a side pay-per-view, I don't know. In my opinion, they should offer it on the zone app and maybe give a discount to the zone members, right? Like you usually pay a month for the zone, like $20. They should probably like minus that on the zone app or something like that. For people that have the year subscription, you give them a percentage off of the pay-per-view, something, but I don't know if it'll look good for optics for them. But the downside, of course, that you have to pay for the fight. Okay. It'll be on pay-per-view. That is a downside. You're going to have to fork out money from your pocket or spend your gas to go somewhere where you can watch the fight, or pitch in with some friends, or go to a bar, or do something to watch this fight. But from the sounds of it, it looks like this fight is more than likely on. All the major points have been negotiated. And it seems to me like more than likely, and for the first time I'm speaking optimistically about this fight, more than likely, guys, we're going to have this event. We're going to have this great event where Plant Canelo is going to happen for undisputed, for all the marbles, at 168 pounds. And I'm excited for it. I have to tell you that. Potato Bass says, honestly, we already had 2 Canelo fights on the zone. That's a bargain for the zone yearly subscription. And what does it say about the activity of Canelo, right? Since he fought in December, February, May, and then September. That's 4 times in 9 months. That is unprecedented today, in today's age. One of the persons I do not know, JC, which is why I'm looking forward to getting Ryan O'Hara on, and I don't know if he'll have any information on this either, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. That's for sure. Let me go ahead and tweet this out right now, actually. Now that I'm talking about this. Okay. All right, there we go. So I tweeted that out, and hopefully we can get Ryan O'Hara on, and he could talk to us. You know what I mean? He could kind of let us know what's going on, and what he can tell us. He'll tell us what he can't say thus far. Then he won't be able to tell us. That's the nature of, and the way things work. It'll be Fox pay-per-view. They're talking about, and I'm testing something on my end right now, by the way. They're talking about T-Mobile Arena, but they're saying it's already booked, but you don't need T-Mobile. Bro, like, why make it complicated? You know? Like, they don't got to make it complicated, bro. Like, they just don't. There's nothing about it that they need to make it complicated, like, whatsoever. You know what I mean? So I am looking forward to, okay, I tested it. The link is working, so that's great. What do you guys think will win this fight? Like who do you guys think is like more than likely anyway to win this fight? I do believe this will be a 8-4, 9-3 Canelo type fight. I think he will. I think Caleb will have enough to like, he'll be able to finish his fight on his feet, I believe. You know, he might go down one time, But because of Caleb's movement, because of his lateral movement, because of his situational intelligence, which he does have in the ring, he'll be able to win a couple rounds, maybe early, right? Maybe 3 rounds in the first 5 or something like that. And he'll be able to maybe muster 1 or 2 in the latter part of the fight, enough to make it a fight, enough to look respectable. But I think it'll be a clear-cut Canelo win. That's what I believe. JC saying 9th round KO. I don't know. I don't know if it goes KO. I just don't like. Caleb's not gonna stand there long enough to like. Caleb's the type of guy when he gets hit, he's not gonna try to hit Canelo back and get countered. He's gonna stay poised. He's gonna back up. He's gonna get his composure and kind of see when he wants to go back in the pocket. Like it's gonna be hard for Canelo, I believe, to stop him. It's not gonna be hard for Canelo to win rounds. It's not gonna be hard for him to ultimately win this fight, right? But that's what I think, man. Hit my like button, guys. Share this video on our social media platforms. And JC, I do agree to a certain degree. I mean, he's not as slick as Billy Joe Saunders, but I don't know. There's certain things I think he does better. I think his punch placement is better than Saunders, and I think his counter punching abilities are a little better than Saunders. I think Saunders likes to like kind of ambush guys, where Caleb is a little better in the counter punch as a counter puncher. So we'll see. You know, when the fight comes, I'm hoping for a great fight, right? And I think we got the man of the hour, the one and the only Ryan O'Hara, that guy. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man?
Hey, tell us what you can tell us.
I was told I actually want to look up the time. I want to look up.
Okay. Sure. He's looking at the time real quick, guys. Well, guys are listening. Go ahead and hit the like button and share this video.
Can you hear me? Yeah, T-Mobile was a candidate, but then I was told, well, hey, you know, the iMusic music festival was September 18th. So obviously T-Mobile is no longer a candidate, but I just put out a tweet. It's likely for MGM Grand now. But I was told there's a couple, you know, deal points that are still being negotiated. Wasn't told exactly what those deal points were, but that they weren't major and that they shouldn't hold up the fight at all. So it's just a few kinks, but pretty much all is all. It's going to happen.
Can you define what a Can you tell us what a small deal point? Like what would that entail?
Hold on a second. Can you hear me? Yes. I think your audio died or something. I might have to call you back. I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I was able to hear him. You guys could hear me, right? Were you able to hear him? I don't know what happened. He'll come back in, ladies and gentlemen. He'll come back in. He'll let us know what's going on. So let's find out. What's going on, brother?
Not much. Were you able to catch what I said, or was that
yes.
Was I on mute? Okay, cool. So yeah, Fox pay-per-view is what I've been told, and I know I put out a tweet a few weeks ago. You know, I was told that Canelo is not a a pay-per-view fan and wants his fans to be able to afford his fights. But now that the fight's gonna be on pay-per-view, it's not that Canelo like what I said wasn't true, but you got to realize with the different networks and different promoters and all that stuff, like Canelo didn't have much of a choice. It's like, okay, well, it's either you fight with this network for one fight or you're not going to get a shot at Undisputed. And Canelo's like, well, okay, I love my fans. I want them to be before my fights, but this is legacy. This is a legacy fight. I want to be an Undisputed champion. I haven't gotten there yet. And Caleb Plant's, he's a good fighter. Honestly, for people who have followed Caleb Plant for many years, I was at the Lomachenko Linares fight, and I told a couple guys that work in the strength and conditioning business. I told them that Caleb Plant's a future world champion, and I'm high on him. And I felt like he doesn't have the most exciting style, but you have to respect his ability, and he is definitely a live dog in this fight.
Well, if there's any upside, is this, right? I mean, he has given people 3 straight fights on the zone since December, right? So of course, I mean, and he might return after, if let's say he beats Plan, he might return on the zone and defend the undisputed crown. Who knows, right?
Hmm.
But we'll figure it out. You know, what I mean, like fight fans always figure it out. Like we're not gonna miss the fight. You go to a bar, you could pitch in with friends. Like, you could figure the thing out. And a Canelo fight is an event, right? So people will find a way to watch it for sure. The Boxing Republic, by the way, says what's up to Ryan.
Hey, what's going on? Nancy, right?
Yes,
Boxing Republic. How's it going, Nancy?
that's right. She's like popular over here. Everyone knows who she is. You know, like. But
Yep.
I want to ask you, when you say like, can you give us the fans an example of just little small things just need to be negotiated? What small things, like who walks to the ring first, that type of stuff? Or
I wasn't told specifically. I asked, but I wasn't given those specifics. All that I was told is that these details are very minor and they have pretty much nothing to do with the fight happening. Like the fight's gonna happen, but these little things they can figure it out in a few days or a few hours.
did they give you a percentage, like it's 99% chance to happen?
They just told me happening. Straight up. That was just happening with a period. It's happening. There's just a few things that need to be ironed out, but they're not a big deal. So if it's not a big deal, they probably don't really need to be mentioned. I'm assuming that's what it's all about.
Canelo's talking about how he doesn't want his fans to pay so much. Did they say anything about the price?
I wasn't told the price, but I would imagine it's probably in the 74 range. I mean, they're charging 74 for Andy Ruiz and Chris Arreola. I imagine it's probably around the same, if not more. It might be more. I mean, this is an undisputed fight with Canelo, and he is the biggest star in boxing. So I mean, you got to figure that there might be a slight price increase involved in it, and I think a majority of fans would be willing to pay for it. Honestly, I mean, Caleb Plant's not the biggest name, but I mean, this is a big fight.
Do you know if Eddie Hearn is going to have any involvement in this fight whatsoever?
No clue. No idea.
Clue.
I wasn't told anything about that, so
okay,
I can't say.
All right. Man, this is actually some pretty big news here. I mean, you've been getting the good news lately. You know what I mean? God bless Twitter, But
yeah, I decided. You know what? I was tired of other reporters beating me to the news. I honestly, I was getting a little complacent. I was getting a little lazy, and I decided to get into gear. I'm honest with everybody. I was a little bit lazy, and then finally, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I gotta get back into this breaking news business.
So speaking of that, I'm always skeptical of some other reporters out there, and I know they're your colleagues, so I don't want to like throw shade. And this is just me saying this, but Coppinger, I never had that much faith in what he says because of the record. Like the batting average isn't there for me when he gets something right or not. So I think the important thing is it's not just getting the stuff out there when you can get it, but it's also like getting it right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we have to be a little bit objective because we get sources all the time, and then sometimes before, let's say you get on the inside that Golovkin's going to fight this guy, like months before it's supposed to happen, but months before it's even announced. And then it turns out, oh, Golovkin's fighting this guy, and people are like, well, the reporter was wrong. A lot of times the reporter wasn't wrong. What he said was right. It's just that things changed before the announcement, and that's kind of the danger you get when you do reports like that. Things can change, and there is a change that's happening right now that I can't talk about yet. There is going to be a change I can't say. It's in regards to a post that I made not too long ago. There's going to be a change, and I'm trying to figure out what the change is going to be. So yeah, I mean, it happens. So I can't really, Kop's a good reporter. Majority of his reports are accurate, but it really depends because sometimes things change. And, I'm not going to say, one way or another. I think I've had nothing but good conversations with Mike. He's a good dude, and you got to respect his grind that he was able to. I think he was with USA Today, and then he was with The Ring, and then he went to The Athletic, and now he's with ESPN, and that's always been his dream. So, props to him. He's having fun out there.
Well, I mean, this is definitely, good news as a fight fan. We love to see Undisputed. Do you believe, just asking your opinion here, like, do you think it's going to be a pay-per-view success?
Absolutely. I mean, you got Canelo on the card. It's going to be a pay-per-view success. Now, the only issue that I see is that, it is almost August. So there's not a ton of time to promote the fight. But on the silver lining is that you have Canelo. Now, if you had, for example, let's see, if you had like let me think. Let's say if you had, gotta think of something like Errol Spence. Let's say if Errol Spence announced a fight, you know, late like early August for September,
Right.
there'd be less, like you would have less time because Errol Spence is not as big of a name as Canelo. Canelo is kind of a worldwide star. Errol Spence is, I mean, he is a star, but I wouldn't say he's on that Canelo level yet. But the good news is, Canelo already has that name recognition. He fought Mayweather when he was green, I guess is the term. He was a young champion, and now he's the biggest star of the sport. So he basically carries the sport at the moment, and he's on the cover of the ESPC boxing game, and that's another big thing. So
Also, another thing is everyone's talking about what this means for PBC. What about Fox Sports and what it means for them? I mean, they lost the UFC to ESPN a couple years ago. They used to have that, and while they have had PBC, I mean, they have been, aside from a joint venture with Wilder Fury, which they had to share with ESPN. This has to be the biggest fight event that they've had, and I think that this is, I think, good for boxing, and I think it'll give boxing some type of lifeline, in my opinion, right? I mean, for Fox Sports.
absolutely, and I think in this aspect, I think boxing fans are kind of brutal when it comes to this aspect. You hear fans saying, "Well, I hate this network, I hate this promoter, blah blah blah. I want to see this network die." You never want to see a network die, because as soon as you see one network die, it kind of leads to a domino effect. HBO leaving, that was a huge impact on the sport. It's kind of like NASCAR. People don't like certain teams, and we're seeing teams left and right leaving the sport, and now the only teams you're really seeing are super teams. And who wants to see super teams be? It's the same thing every other week. So in boxing, you want to see competition. You want to see Fox, you want to see ESPN, you want to see these networks doing well. And Fox is in the business of pay-per-views. They had that pay-per-view with Ruiz and Areola, and that was kind of a sign that they're in need of that extra boost in revenue, and this is exactly what they need. They needed a big fight, and what better fight could they put on than Canelo Alvarez taking on Caleb Plant, a rising star. So it's going to be a good fight. I know a lot of people have criticized Plant in the past, and he's not ready for this fight. I think he's absolutely ready for this fight. I think that as far as his combination punching abilities, his jab, his ability to move, I think trumps most of the super middleweight division other than Canelo. I think it's gonna give Canelo some problems. I think Canelo will still win, but it's not going to be easy by any means. So I'd say Canelo on points right now. I'd say probably like a 116, 112, 115, 113 type of fight.
Absolutely. A couple more things I wanted to ask you. So, and of course, it's just like your opinion, but do you think that this will now make, like, because a fight that as fight fans we really want to see is Canelo against David Benavidez, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think this makes it more likely now?
Absolutely, because I think Benavidez should have no problems with Uzcategui. Caleb Plant was coming off a 1.5-year layoff from shoulder surgery, and beat Uzcategui pretty easily. Dropped him twice. Caleb did get cut in the fight, but that was from a headbutt. And Caleb really showed his grit in that fight. But battling from that cut, because that cut was really bothering him, and he still managed to win that fight. And Uzcategui after that, he had a couple wins over some opponents with, I think, had losing records. There's some journeymen, and then he lost to Lionel Thompson. I believe Lionel Thompson was offered a fight with Benavidez. He also turned that down, and so that put Uzcategui in position. I think Benavidez should have no problems. That fight's going to be taking place at the Phoenix Suns Arena. I don't know the name of the arena anymore. It's no. Speaking of which, the Phoenix Suns.
Is that the Talking Stick? It's not the Talking Stick.
Yeah, Talking Stick Resort Arena. It's always changed. At first, it was America West Arena, and then it became United Airlines. It was always changing, but you know what? The Suns disappoint me. I waited my whole life for the Suns to make the NBA Finals, only for them to crap the bed in the finals. What a joke! But anyway, other than that,
it happens.
Yeah, I think Canelo Benavidez is in the future. That's a fight. I think Plant, his style will trouble Canelo more than Benavidez's style. I think that styles make fights. I think Canelo Plant is a better fight than Canelo Benavidez. But I also think that Plant Benavidez would be a better fight than Canelo Plant. I mean, I just love boxing, man. You never know. It's kind of like
Yeah.
chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Life is like a box of chocolates.
So hopefully, as once the fight becomes official, it's going to be interesting to see what the undercard's going to look like. I don't know if it's going to have fighters from Canelo's stable or his promotion. If Eddie Hearn's going to be involved, if it's going to be mainly PBC fighters, I don't know. But
I don't
it's
know
going to be
either.
interesting.
I would imagine there would be some cross promotions there. I mean, and that's the right thing to do. You have a huge opportunity here. That I think one of the biggest like criticisms.
Put Devin Haney on the undercard, right?
What was that?
Like, what if they just kind of have Devin Haney on the undercard or something?
That'd be great because Haney's a free agent now, and you never know. I mean, maybe they could get Devin Haney and JoJo Diaz in that card. They're yapping each other on Twitter. I don't know who's more serious than the other, but I know the fans want to see that fight. And one of the biggest criticisms over the last couple of years is the undercards. I remember the Mayweather-Pacquiao undercard was horrible. It was one of the worst undercards we've ever seen, and that was a missed opportunity. Yeah, you have the fight of the century, which wasn't the fight of the century, but you need. It's kind of like an appetizer. It's like
it was the best sparring match. It was the highest paid sparring match of all time.
I enjoyed the fight personally. I knew the fight wasn't going to be like as crazy, as was expected to be, because when you put an offensive minded fighter against a defensive genius, you're not going to get a firefight.
Yeah, Floyd wasn't going to stand there and put his mitts up and go at Manny. That wasn't
Floyd Mayweather in 2005, absolutely, but that was Pretty Boy Floyd. Money Mayweather was about making money and also taking the least amount of damage, and that's exactly what happened.
You know what? It was a really good fight, but then it kind of turned for the worse, at least as a viewer to me, when Manny landed that big left hand. I think it was in the third round. And then I think Floyd was like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do my thing.
Yeah.
Kind of just box him.
Was that the second round or the third round? I forget right now.
I don't remember, but it was a really good left hand by Manny.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good counter shot. And then, Floyd covered up well, and Manny kind of punched himself out, at that round, and Floyd recovered.
Do you think it's likely in any way, given the fact that he's with Golden Boy, but is it likely in any way that Ryan Garcia could be on this undercard?
I say it's a possibility, if Garcia wants it. I think that the whole cross promotion thing is kind of used as an excuse a lot. It's like, oh, we can't make this fight because this guy's with this guy. But honestly, if the fighter really, 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 really wants to fight, and he really wants to fight this guy, he can convince his guys, put me on that card. But it's challenging. Obviously, not being a fighter myself, I've never been part of a negotiation like that, so I can't say one way. I can't say one way or the other. But Adam, because I know that when Canelo, before he fought Erislandy Lara, Golden Boy didn't want that fight. Canelo wanted that fight, and he convinced everybody at Golden Boy, no, I want this fight. Put me in there with them. Yeah. And Golden Boy they weren't necessarily afraid. I don't know. Maybe they were kind of afraid of him, losing, because it's not exactly a style that that he likes. Yeah. But Canelo's about challenges. He challenged himself, and a lot of people thought Lara actually won the fight. I thought Canelo edged him a bit, because I thought, Lara, was landing shots that we normally don't see Canelo get hit with. But kind of like in the De La Hoya Whitaker fight, Pernell didn't he obviously had the defensive wizardry, but he didn't exactly do enough on offense.
Absolutely. Now, one more question. What do you think this says about, or how do you think it's going to be perceived for DAZN here? Does DAZN lose value as a boxing app now that their biggest star is going to fight on pay-per-view for another network? Do you think it has any impact at all, or how do you see it?
Well, from a short-term perspective, fans will probably be like, that kind of hurts them. But from a long-term perspective, I think they're saying, well, Canelo has a good relationship with Eddie Hearn. That's the good part. And I obviously wasn't part of of anything, but I can imagine Canelo probably would tell Hearn, well, hey, you know what? This is just a one-time thing. Maybe that's what happened. This is just a one-time thing. I really love working with you guys, and I want to be back for the next fight. So we're gonna do this one thing. I'll be back. I'm going to be the undisputed champion. And from this point forward, I have all the belts. no one's going to tell me to fight for another network again. I am the king. I think that's basically how it's going to go down. Because Canelo, I remember the conversation that took place. Oh man, this is a long time ago. But I think what Golden Boy executive said is that Canelo wanted to retire from the sport at the age of 37. I think he just turned 31 a few days ago, right?
Man, 6 more years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think yesterday.
He
Wasn't
was born in
yesterday,
1990, so he is 30. He just turned 31. It's crazy because I remember when I was in middle school, and I grew up near Mexico, and I heard about Canelo. I heard about this kid with cinnamon hair, and I'm honest. I was a fan of him when he was going through the ranks, and I do my best to watch his fights on YouTube and whatnot when they're available. So it's crazy that he's 31 now because I'm turning 28 in September. We're getting old, man.
Yeah, we're getting very old. I think he was wasn't he like 19 when he fought on the undercard of Mosley Mayweather?
Yeah.
He was a young kid. That's crazy.
And he fought Jose Miguel Cotto around that time too. And I remember him getting hurt in that fight and people wondering, oh, this kid's not going to make it. And have you ever seen him get hurt since? Maybe a little bit, in the Golovkin fight, but he was able to recover.
Yeah.
Guy's got one hell of a chin, man. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I can't wait for this one, brother. Well, man, I want to thank you for coming on, giving us your time here.
Of course, man. I mean, I had to get dressed for this. I was just, just chilling. I was like, crap, now I got a shower and everything now.
Hey, well, there you go.
That's the downside of breaking news.
That's right. You'll probably get a lot of phone calls, texts, and DMs now. So
yeah, I think I've gotten a lot of texts just in the last few minutes, but I got to make sure that I respond to everybody. Dude, I'm actually starting to have problems like trying to keep up with all my messages. It's actually bad. And I'm also starting to forget names. I'm like, this is bad because I see myself as like the local kid. Crap. I'm like, who is this guy's name? It's so bad, man.
Just got to write it down. You need sticky notes. You know what I mean? Like this. Just get some sticky notes and get them ready. You know what I mean? It's just saying.
I mean, the first time I met Francisco Salazar from the ring and boxing scene, I called him Fernando. I'm pretty sure I called him Fernando twice. Yeah, it's bad. I've been trying to make it up to him ever since. So,
well, there you go.
Hey, there's similar names, man.
Well, there you go. All right, brother. You have a good one, man.
Yeah, you too, man. You guys have a good day.
All right, guys. Ryan O'Hara from the Ring Magazine saying that Canelo Plant, September 18th, likely to happen. He was told it's going to happen. September 18th, minor details to be negotiated, so we're not in the clear, but expect an announcement soon. I'm assuming Canelo will probably be the first one to tweet it out, and I'm optimistic about this. I got to be honest with you guys. So everybody follow Ryan on Twitter. There's his Twitter account at O'Hara Sports, and there it is, man. Breaking news, good stuff. Give us the time to come on here. Catch you tonight on Calix Boxing Power Punchers, and we'll see where the news takes us from there. All right. Peace out.